a few statistics on why this is an important conversation we're having today. And these statistics go up during the holiday seasons for many reasons. But there's help, and that's what I want to do. I want to bring awareness and resources to our communities that may be suffering from alcohol abuse disorders, drug abuse disorders, things like that. So let me tell you, before we get started, some of these statistics. So alcohol use disorder in the United States, and this was done, I'm sorry, let me tell you who did this one. The National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics. So this is for the United States. Women, 35.57% have alcohol use disorders. Men, 61.74. Adolescents, 2.69. That's out of 14.8 million that are diagnosed. 24% of people aged 18 and older reported binge drinking in the last 30 days. This was in 2021, so this is a decline of 7%. So that's awesome. Every day, 385 Americans die as a result of excessive alcohol use. So we're going to work on those numbers and talk about with Mr. Detman what work we're doing towards that. 83.9 of these deaths involved adults aged 35 or older. Alcohol causes 10% of deaths among 15 to 49-year-olds. Men are 3 times as likely as women to die as a consequence of alcohol abuse. So these are not good statistics, but there's help. There's treatment, and I think that we in California do a sight better than a lot of other places in offering resources to address substance abuse and alcohol abuse and drug abuse. So welcome, Mr. Detman. I have been so anxious to do this show with you. It's been a little bit in the making to get it done. So many things have come up and changed. You know, life is continually changing. But when I met you, I'm gonna tell you a little story. So when I met you, and I had been hearing about VARP, and I'm like, who is VARP? And then my coworker, she said, that's Gibson House. You know Gibson House. Everybody knows Gibson House. And I said, you know what? I do know Gibson House because my mom was in Gibson House a couple of times over a few years when she was trying to deal with her alcoholism when I was younger. So I'm very familiar with Gibson. I was very familiar and grateful that Gibson House is still there. It's still operating. You have beautiful facilities, and your staff, the people, you just look at them and meet them, and it's like all heart. You know that they're just here to help people. So you are very lucky also to have really good staff that to work with, and it says it's about management. So, that's how. So I want to ask you a couple of things. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Detman. He was born in Boston, raised in Michigan. He has a degree from University of Tulsa. He has a master's degree from UCLA in business. He had a long career in entertainment industry in sports, music, and movies. He worked for Showtime and some other companies. You do have that movie face, that movie star. You do. When I first met you, I said, he's done something before. He's been on TV or something before.
I wasn't really in front of the camera.
Okay, because I'm like, you just have that quality, that star quality. So you moved here to the IE in 2017 to start a new phase of your career in nonprofit in order to, like we all start out, we want to give back and help our communities. And then you started working with VARP Gibson House since then in substance abuse treatment field. So thank you for everything that you do. Your community thanks you because we need these resources here. So just tell me a little bit about Gibson House and what for those, talk to me like I don't know anything and just give me the highlights.
Thank you, Z, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I'll be happy to answer any questions and have a little chat with you. So VARP stands for Veterans Alcohol Recovery Program, or Rehabilitation Program. It was started in 1979 by Mel Harris, who used to own the Harris Department Store and the Harris Building in downtown San Bernardino. He had a son that was a Vietnam vet who came home with no place to go and an addiction problem. And
There you go.
so Mel Harris, his father, bought a house and set it up as a place for veterans to go that needed help with addiction. They could go to the VA for treatment, but they didn't have any place to stay.
Right.
So that was Harris House. It's still here, and we still use it. It's over on Rialto Avenue. But from there, we ended up buying what's now called Gibson House on the corner of 11th and D Street. That's a 40-bed house with about 10 rooms, plus all the offices and the kitchen and the meeting room and so forth. And we went on to serve more than just veterans. So now we serve everybody.
Okay.
Medi-Cal has stepped up the game to provide funding for drug and alcohol treatment. And since then, we've got lots of people coming through. We're always full. We're always growing. We run about 30 buildings. About 25 of them are occupied by people seeking help.
Okay.
So at any given time, there's about 100 people in treatment full-time for drug and alcohol abuse. Like I said, it's Medi-Cal funded. They're not just veterans. It's men and women from all kinds of backgrounds.
Right.
And we also have about 60 or so sober living beds for people who have gotten treatment and now are, stable and need a structured environment but are not in full-time treatment. And then we also have about 60 people in outpatient treatment.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of treatment beds, and we need those. I know that doing coordinated entry system outreach work, which is we work from the streets, so folks are homeless on the streets, and the majority of the folks on the streets suffer from substance abuse. A lot of them suffer from mental health induced by substance abuse.
Or exacerbated by it. We call it co-occurring disorder.
Yes.
A lot of people that have mental health problems seek out drugs as a way to sort of self-medicate.
Right.
And it just makes the problem worse. Some people, their mental health issues are just brought on by drugs, but others,
Right.
they were there before and they're going to be there regardless, so they need medication. Most of our consumers actually have substance use disorder and a mental health issue
Right.
that they deal with.
Right, that's what we're meeting, and I think it's great that San Bernardino, the outreach efforts of like the Office of Homeless Services, that we're concentrating on the medical aspect of homeless outreach because we understand how important that is, and it didn't hurt that we got a lot of money from, through CalAIM to address this issue, because people know that our marginalized communities, our abused communities, they have mental health and a lot of physical issues that go along with their trauma that they're actually going through. So I feel like we're in a really good spot right now here in California to capture the folks that have probably been going undiagnosed, not treated, for a really long time because they've just been on the streets for so long.
Exactly, and for too long, the solution has been seen as just, find a place to put a bed and put them in the bed and you've solved homelessness. Well,
Right.
Unfortunately, no. What that does is turn into more dope houses, and that's not going to help anybody. So I like the
Exactly.
continuum of care approach that California and across the country we're adopting. We recently entered into an agreement with the city to provide a new program for us, which is strictly homeless services. So we're going to provide interim shelter for people along the Waterman corridor. A lot of them will have drug addiction problems, and we'll be able to refer them to treatment, but this is the first step of getting them into a stable environment with supervision from people who understand that they aren't just homeless, but they may very well have addiction problems, mental health problems, physical health problems.
Right. We have a lot of partners here in San Bernardino, and I'm happy that you mentioned that you are partnering with the city, because I go to city council meetings and a lot of folks, they get up and out for public comment and they say, we don't see what you're doing to address this issue, and you can't come in to, you can't lay out everything on the table and say, look at all our efforts. So that's why I think this show is important, because I get to bring on folks like you they tell me, we're working with the county or we're working with the city to bring these efforts, so citizens can see, that their money is being, used toward these efforts. That's what they go to city council to take, my taxpayer dollars, and that's important because as a coordinated entry system, we get the 211 calls. The majority of the calls are people looking for beds, looking for a place to stay. So the more beds we have and the more variety in the beds that we have, which means substance, it can be reentry, the better off we'll be able to serve the entire community and not leave anybody out. So tell me, James, why substance abuse specialist? Why?
Well, I have some background with substance abuse myself. I know it's something that affects a lot of people. To be honest, there was an opportunity at VARP when I wanted to move out here, and I took it. And now I think I've really found a good place for me. It's kind of interesting because VARP existed since 1979 in kind of a silo. It's right there on 11th Street, on D Street at 11th. And like I said, and you've been there, we occupy 25 or 30 buildings there.
Right.
But people don't even know we're there. People
No.
have lived there all their life, might drive up and down that street and not realize that's a
And
huge
that is a
compound.
testament to your agency and the work that you do, that people don't know that your service, that you have people there that are in treatment and getting their lives back together, because people want to assume the worst about what those type of facilities. You have the most manicured, well-kept facilities, and they're not brand new. They're not, but I now know when I get to a certain part on D, I'm like, yep, Gibson houses.
Yeah, that's the only hint. Sometimes people will say, I always wondered why it was so well kept right around
Right here.
That's the only thing.
Yep.
But it's also, it's a good sign of, the police aren't coming all the time. There's
Right.
not all kinds of, trash around and everything. So that is really good. But what I've started to do since I've been with VARP is open up our relationships in the community a little bit. So I go to the Continuum of Care meetings
Right.
and city council meetings, and we've had the mayor come and tour our facility.
Shelter courts.
Shelter court, I take people to. We bring in resources like the public defender's office to help people with
Right.
expungement. I just figure if we're trying to uplift this community, it's going to work better if we all work together.
If we
And
all
let's
work
face
together.
It, San Bernardino, it's needed. It's kind of a ghetto. There's blight, there's graffiti and crime and homelessness everywhere. And it's a beautiful, wonderful community with a rich history and a lot of people that really love it and a lot of people that are working hard to
Yes.
revitalize it. And we want to be part of that group.
Yes, so do we at Family Assistance. I have romanticized San Bernardino, I think, from my childhood, because this is where, when I was younger, this is where we got to go hang out, and we felt like we were going somewhere, because I lived over on the West End, and we had the Carousel Mall and the theaters, and it was just a place to hang out as a person, as a young person. It's important also that people know that you are here in this community, because I get calls all the time asking for treatment facilities. Do you know any treatment facilities? And I'm like, there's a great one right there in San Bernardino. What is it? What are the requirements to get in?
Well, you have to be referred by the county. We actually have contracts with San Bernardino County and Riverside County. So we
Okay.
have a lot of consumers from the entire Inland Empire. So what a consumer or an individual needs to do is call the county hotline, the assessment number, do an assessment. If they have a significant problem, then the assessor will refer them to rehab.
Okay.
So we're one of the rehabs that people in that the agencies in Riverside County and San Bernardino County refer people to. There are
Awesome.
others, but we're the biggest one right in San Bernardino and one of the biggest ones in the IE.
Right. Tell me, how long is the program? Does it vary, or how long is your program typically?
It does vary. We have people enter the program every day. We have people that leave the program every day. So it's not like we have, one day where everybody starts. Addiction doesn't really work that way.
Right.
The program is ordinarily about 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
Some people only need 30 days and only stay 30 days. Some people need a little longer, or we're trying to figure out their housing and their work after they leave us, and so we'll keep them longer. We'll get an extension. They may stay for up to 5 months.
Okay, 5 months. Okay, that's good.
So it's about 60 to 90 days, and it's an evidence-based program, which is what Medi-Cal funding requires. So it's not a faith-based program, not that there's anything wrong with that, but what we do is a curriculum that has been proven to work and proven to help people recover and get off drugs and stay off drugs.
Right, right. So very needed. What can the community do to support the work that you're doing here in San Bernardino? How would you like to partner? What do you want? I know you go to all of our events. We go to the same events, but what do you want the community to help you as an agency, a growing agency?
Well, that's a great question, and I wish I'd have thought of that more before I'm here, but what I'm going to say is that drug abuse and addiction, it's not a topic that we can just sweep under the rug or ignore. What I've been telling people lately is that if we're going to uplift the community, we need more than the old, rich, white people to have their act together. You know, we need to uplift the people in need, and addiction is the scourge of people that are in need. So
Right.
we need to recognize it as a problem.
Right.
More and more society is, I think, recognizing drug abuse as basically a medical problem that can be treated. I think that it makes sense to elect officials who believe in recovery and
Yes,
rehabilitation.
absolutely.
And a lot of our elected officials
Do.
do, I'm happy to say. One thing people can do is if you're part of an organization that requires volunteers, I'm so heartened to see that a lot of our consumers, they've hit bottom, they've been on the street in a lot of cases, they've been, through years of drug addiction, now they're getting a chance to have their life back. And the first thing they want to do is give back.
Right.
So every time I offer them the opportunity to volunteer at a toy drive or a food drive or some kind of community event, they're all over it, and they come and they work hard, and they get so much from it. So if
Right.
you've got an event where you need some volunteers, reach
All
out to
right.
me and I will bring them.
All right, San Bernardino, you heard that. I hear from you all the time about needing volunteers to help and at your events. And right now is the busiest time of year for us all over. So there's a whole bunch of events going on, adopted families, things like that. So if you need volunteers, I'm going to ask you like a business question. How can you share a success story from one of your previous clients?
Oh man, there's so many. And unfortunately, there's also the ones that aren't successful. These days, especially with fentanyl and everything, we all in the industry, we all know people
Right.
who've lost their battle. And then we see people who've come back repeatedly to our program. And I always say, I'm glad you made it back. I'm sorry you had to come back again. Hopefully this will be the last time.
Right.
Unless you come for an alumni event or something. But yeah, there's been lots of success stories. I know an individual who, similar to me, had a long career, successful career, had some mishaps in their life, and sort of hit bottom, and came to Gibson House, and they needed just one time there. They got their act together. They went back and resumed their career, and actually got remarried, and they're thriving now.
Wow,
That's just one.
that's
There's so many.
I can imagine how many people. Tell me, is it who comes in, just generally? Because I don't think I don't think addiction discriminates. So
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I did an analysis of the demographics of our consumer base, and it's pretty much the same demographics as San Bernardino County.
Okay.
In Riverside County.
Okay.
It's all colors, most ages. Interestingly, though, it's not that many individuals like in their 20s. It's usually in their 30s and 40s. If you're an
Okay.
addict in your 20s, you're probably still in the midst of it,
Uh-huh.
maybe even still enjoying it. Or it can be fun at first, and then
Then it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. So most of our consumers are in their 30s and 40s, but we get them all the way down to 18, which is the minimum age we'll take, and people in their 60s, 70s. It's all
Right.
ages, all backgrounds. We have about 2/3 men and 1/3 women.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that says, but I think maybe us men are stupider. Maybe women have more supports of other kinds. I don't know, but
Men maybe they want to have fun longer, huh?
Yeah,
They think they're
yeah.
having fun longer.
since it's Medi-Cal funded, most of our consumers are down and out financially. Like I said, a lot of them come from the street. But they don't necessarily, it's not like they went to the street and then they found drugs. In most cases, they were doing well and
Right.
on some kind of a track, and then drugs found them, and now they need a little help to get back on track.
Right, right. What is the top 2 or 3 reasons that people decide that they want to get help?
Yeah, I used to do groups with people, and what I boiled it down to for them was that everybody's there for one drug or another, and the drugs have had some or other impact on their life. So what we're all there for is to change our life, you know, and so that's the one thing that everybody has in common. Obviously, the addiction is the thing that we treat, but it's really more the fact that people have hit bottom in life that they're there to change.
Okay.
If they could do drugs and still have a great life, they wouldn't necessarily seek out treatment as eagerly. So
Right.
people come to get their life back, and what that means is their relationships primarily.
Right.
Their family has disowned them, they don't have access to their children, their
Right.
wife or their husband has, you know, no longer willing to deal with them. So the relationships are the biggest thing.
Right.
And then I think employment is another big thing. They can't hold a job because they're getting high instead of going to work.
Instead of going, yeah.
So, you know, and then obviously if they can't have a job and they can't have a family, then they end up out on the street.
Right, right. Wow. Yeah, I think those are just the reasons that a lot of folks end up, you know, struggling harder than, you know, typical during that time. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I have great questions about what actual services that you provide that I want you to share with with our listeners and our viewers. And we'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda. Listen online at www.kcaaradio.com.
NBA Cup quarterfinals. Bucks beat the Magic at the Fiserv Forum to advance to the semis. Giannis Antetokounmpo led all scorers with 37. Bucks head coach Doc Rivers on heading to Vegas.
Our goal is not just to get to Vegas. We want to win this thing. So we got 2 more games left. But it's good to get there. You got to get there first, and we've done that.
The Bucks will play either the Hawks or Knicks. In the West, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped in 39 to help the Thunder take out the Mavericks at the Paycom Center. OKC will play either the Warriors or Rockets in the semis. At the Jimmy V Classic, unranked Arkansas came from 15 down and held on, beat number 14 Michigan. Number 1 Tennessee knocked off Miami, improved to 9-0 on the season. At the baseball winter meetings in Dallas, Nationals won the MLB draft lottery. Will pick first. Yankees signed lefty Max Fried to an 8-year deal worth $218 million. And Fever guard Caitlin Clark is Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. That's sports. I'm Ronza Moss.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
For over 75 years, the Marine Toys for Tots program has provided toys and emotional support to economically disadvantaged children, primarily during the holidays. But needs are not just seasonal, and now, neither is Toys for Tots. They've expanded their outreach to support families in need all year long, with their new programs, including the Foster Care Initiative, the Native American Program, and the Youth Ambassador Program. To learn how you can help, visit toysfortots.org.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
Welcome back, San Bernardino. This is Shazette. We're working in the margins here at KCAA, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. I'm with Family Assistance Program, and this is our weekly radio show where we come on and talk about issues that we are trying to address here in San Bernardino with our marginalized communities and our homeless folks and folks that are just needing more resources these days because it's prices are high and we need to leverage our dollars a little bit more. And I want to bring as many resources that you may have difficulty finding on your own, or I tell everybody Google it, but sometimes Google will take you to places you just don't want to go to. So welcome back, James Dedman from Gibson House VARP. And I have a few more questions. I've enjoyed our conversation. Tell me some of the services when somebody comes into your program. As a new person and they're trying to get their life together, what services do you offer?
Well, if somebody's admitted to our program, they have to be physically stable and mentally stable. So if they are having a mental health issue and they don't have the appropriate medication for that or something, we'll have to send them out. If they have an open wound or some other physical issue that prevents them from being in our program, we have to send them out. But assuming that they're physically and mentally stable, if they need mental health medication, they have it, then what they get is a little health checkup. They get put into program right away. They might be a little tired or something. If they need detox, we have a separate program for that. So if they need medical detox from heroin or fentanyl or alcohol or some other substance where you require medical supervision to come down, then we'll provide that. But let's say they're coming into our main program and they don't need detox, they don't have a medical or physical or a mental issue that needs attention, then we primarily work on how to get clean and stay clean, how to get off drugs and stay off drugs. We have classes in relapse prevention, anger management. We also actively support family reunification, so we have visits allowed on the weekends. If they have medical needs, like if they're recovering from surgery or if they have some sort of ongoing medical condition, then they can go out to see their doctor. And we do have doctors and nurses on staff. We also have therapists, licensed therapists. So if they have issues that they just want to talk through with somebody, then we provide that. Mostly it's a social model program, though. There are groups all day, about 6 groups per day, and they're participative groups. They're led by licensed counselors with a specific curriculum that's evidence-based, so it's proven to work, but we encourage participation.
That's awesome.
I tell each person that not only are they there for their recovery, but they're there for their brother's recovery, their sister's recovery, everybody else. And part of recovery is talking and seeing how similar people are and in what ways you're different, but how you can bond and reach out and lift each other up.
Right. I love that. It is important. Sometimes it's generational, is cyclical, is in your family, and sometimes you are the one that is, that's going to stop it.
Right.
That you're going to be the example, for the ones that come after to say, we found other ways to deal with life other than, being addicted to substances.
It's really sad to talk to a consumer who can't find his dad because he's out there on the street someplace, an alcoholic or whatever, or can't find his mother for the same reason.
For the same
It does happen a lot. It's not the only thing. There are people that come from great homes and great backgrounds and still end up in our program. So, it can go either way, but it is nice to break the cycle, whether it starts with that person or whether it started generations earlier.
I remember my mom was in a treatment facility over here in Loma Linda, near Loma Linda. It was like a 30-day or something, and Johnny Cash was in there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
She was in there with Johnny Cash.
She was in there with Johnny Cash, and it was all hush hush and everything. But afterwards, I remember she told us, and I was like, yeah. I remember hearing about that, back then about that.
Well, that's one of the things that's helped reduce the stigma of addiction is that, it happens to celebrities, it happens to famous people, it happens to athletes and
It doesn't
politicians. It doesn't discriminate.
It
no.
doesn't discriminate. How do you say, so you encourage family reunification, which is awesome. I remember how important it was for me to be able to see, stay in touch with my mom. And there were visits and on the weekends. And how do you, especially if there's children involved, how do you bring that together? Because sometimes this person is the mean person, and sometimes the mean person goes away to get help, but they don't know, the mean person is. So how do you deal with that?
There's just no set way. It's a case by case situation. In a lot of cases, families are fed up with the addict, and the addict thinks, oh, well, I've got my act together now. I'm in rehab now. Everybody said, welcome me back with open arms, and they might not be ready after that
Right.
particular addict might have stolen all their money and sold their car and burned down their house or God knows what. It might be a long road back, and we have to work carefully with individuals on that.
Right.
And we have to help individuals confront other realities about their personality that might not be only addiction related, but as you said, they might be the mean person. They just
Right.
can't expect the entire world to revolve around them now that all of a sudden they're getting their act together.
Right.
But in most cases, there is somebody out there that still is going to believe in you and try to hold you up and try to retain that bond. And most people have somebody that'll come and visit them, and so we provide that environment. And it means an awful lot to the people in the program.
Yeah, I think it's important that you include the family members, because the family members are most often the folks that are keeping that person, together out of jail.
They're their
You know,
motivation to
yeah.
even want to get clean in most cases.
Exactly. I feel that the more I feel like fentanyl has like the popularity that it's weird. The popularity of why we're needing to treat it, because it's just poison and it's killing people. I feel like that has increased the recognition of substance abuse in general. I hope so. It's not great that it had to happen because of that, because so many lives were lost. But how did that affect the rise of, because it's a terrible, I've read some stuff, it's just a terrible addiction to be addicted to fentanyl.
And we have a lot of people, and it's just been over the last couple of years where fentanyl has become so popular and so widespread. And I understand the cartels are hiring people right out of the university to go and manufacture fentanyl. So it's not a problem that's going to go away. But it has, with so many deaths, it has brought the problem more to the forefront. For year after year, overdose deaths are the number one preventable cause of death in the United States.
Right.
Except for a few years ago, COVID was
Right.
out of nowhere, obviously cost a lot of people their lives. I heard that there are some indications that the year after year increase is now leveled off a little bit, which is great. I think there's a lot of attention to fentanyl and to opioids at the national
Right.
political level, and there's more awareness and there's more prevention programs. But it doesn't mean the battle's over. The numbers
No.
are still way too high.
Right.
And I know when I just talked to the men and women on our program, what's your addiction? A lot of them are saying fentanyl. And we all know how lethal that can be.
Right.
We had a wonderful young individual in our program not too long ago who did great. He went to our outpatient program and did great. And apparently he just got, I don't know, something happened and he just wanted a little relief. And so he smoked a joint and he died. It was laced with fentanyl. And he had no idea. He wasn't trying to do fentanyl. He wasn't injecting, it was
Right.
just wanted to smoke a joint, which you kind of think is more harmless than
Harm reduction, but-
Yeah, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, it killed
You
him.
have to watch everything. I tell these kids, watch everything. I know they think that, harm reduction is, well, I'm not doing this, I'm going to do this. So, but now you have to watch what you're doing, period.
Yep,
Everything.
yep.
You
They're
know,
putting
especially-
fentanyl in everything to make it more
especially if
potent.
you don't work, can't afford it, and you're getting it from other people.
Right.
people are desperate sometimes about how to keep customers. So they think, oh, I'm going to put a little extra because then they'll keep coming back to me. But that extra is what's killing folks.
Yep.
So I say every week, I do not mean to be so doom and gloom about this, but I want to help. I think more importantly, I want to make sure that we're helping save lives.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
that's
It's
what you're
not,
doing.
it's not, you can be realistic without being pessimistic.
Right,
And the reality
right.
is a lot of people are dying. But
Right.
the other reality is
You're
that
the
there's
hope.
help. Yeah,
You're the
there's help
hope.
available.
Yes.
People beat this. We help people beat
Yes.
this. And,
Yes.
if you have a problem, you can beat it.
Exactly, and that's what I want to portray to the community. Not there's drugs on our streets. We know that. We know what's out there, but we all. I'm in a community now at this age where I have folks that have either young teenagers or that age span from 18 to 30. My boy is 31, so in that age span, and this is when they're trying and doing this stuff. So I just happen to have more, of those folks, and I tell them, we're not trying to, you may not have an addiction, you may just be trying something for the first time. Be careful, just be careful about what we're doing out there. And if you need help, then there's help here. There's lots of help throughout our community. James, tell me how you feel about doing this work. What makes you get up every day?
Well, as I said, I'm trying to expand VARP's footprint within the community at large, and that excites me. I want to be part of something big, being able to revitalize San Bernardino, not by myself, but to be one of the group of people that helps make that happen. There's a lot of people and organizations making that happen. I think that really excites me every day. But then specifically with the work that I'm doing, what I really like is the joy that I find among the consumers that are in our program. These are people who have hit bottom and are still pretty close to bottom. They don't have a house, they don't have a job, they're in our program and looking for their next step. But the joy they have to have another chance, the smiles on their face, the eagerness that they have to volunteer and help out, and the senses of humor that they have, and the jokes they make, it's, I'd say at an emotional level, that's what really keeps me going.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think most of the people I've met that have been in those situations, their resilience is what keeps me going. They want to try, and when they're given opportunities, it hurts my heart a lot of the times when I hear people or communities or agencies say, well, we went out there and we talked to them and nobody wanted help. Nobody wanted help. And I say, I don't know what you're asking. I don't know what I sometimes know what you're offering, but I don't know what you're asking, because I've worked with more people that wanted direction and assistance and resources. I have people who tell me they log in and watch this show because I tell them about resources. So people want to know, I worked for a wonderful lady once back in the day, and she said, people want to do things, they just don't know where to start sometimes. So we are here to help, we're the helpers. Look out for the helpers, so we're going to take a break, right? Okay. But we're going to close out with Mr. Detman when we come back, and then I have some resource announcements for you.
KCAA.
Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents, All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers, in business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family owned and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and in Fontana. Call them at 1.
No, it's Super Roth! Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages.
Miss
a month,
your favorite
and it may
show?
text stop.
Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Welcome back, San Bernardino. This is Shazette with Working in the Margins. And we're at the end of the show. We've had a great conversation with James Detman from VARP Gibson House and their Substance Abuse Treatment Center program here in San Bernardino. We're going to close out by, first of all, thanking Mr. Detman for coming and being here and everything that you've done in this community and what you've done to keep the Gibson House going and thriving. And, you know, it's a jewel in our community because we don't have a lot of folks that want to get into that work as far as treatment coming in and, you know, working with folks day to day because folks think, you know, it's a difficult population. I've heard folks say it's really difficult population after COVID because people were allowed to be able to give in to some of their addictions, because of, the stress of it all and things like that. So, again, I appreciate you. So you're going to hang out with me. We only have a few more minutes. San Bernardino, I got calls last week after last week's show asking for more resources, different resources. Somebody called and asked me, who is paying utility bills? So I heard ya. I did some research. And I found that it's SoCal Gas, Sigma Beta Xi, Youth and Family Services. Do you need help with your utility bills? So the enrollment opened December 11th, 2024. Enrollment closes July 9th, 2025. Okay? Is basic energy education, negotiation on payment plans, and immediate program relief. I am going to post this on my socials. The hashtag is Working in the Margins with Z. Hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. And I'm going to post these resources to that hashtag so that you can find it online. But it's SoCal Gas. I'm sure they have it on their website. Community Action Partnership, they have emergency utility bill assistance.
So many.
It's through, I think their HEAP line, HEAP, HEAP, direct line, 909-723-1500, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. And that's on their website. They also do assistance with wood, propane, and oil assistance program. There's a mail-in progress, but it's HEAP through Community Action Partnership, and it's 909-723-1500. I'm gonna connect this to the hashtag Working in the Margins with Z. I have the Inland Empire Food Resource List of the agencies. It's 79 pages long. So if you can't find food in the IE, I don't know where you're gonna go, because it's resources and all for the entire Inland Empire. So I'm gonna hashtag that and post it on my socials under Working in the Margins with Z. On IG, it's Shazette the Advocate. I'll post them under that as well. That's about what I have for you. I think I have a few more minutes, so he's saying stretch. Okay, I'm doing good today, huh? That's good. I have in my ear, in my window, Mark Westwood, our GM today. So we're a family here, and my regular engineer Eric had something to do with his baby girl. So our wonderful GM stepped into the window, into the studio, and he's doing the show. So far so wonderful, right? Mark Westwood. He's a man of many, many talents. Many talents.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You are absolutely welcome, sir. So let me tell you about the two. So there's an event coming up, and this is through Family Assistance Program, and it's called Marissa's Kids Second Annual. So let me explain what that is. Marissa is a CES case manager. She works out here in San Bernardino and Highland. And in her former life, she worked at the Super 8 Motel, which is one of the county, which is a motel that the county and the city uses to house and transition homeless people with families into housing. So that was her incarnation. So a year ago, she started having events for holiday event for the kids that are in that motel. So they're still considered homeless, but they're in transition and they're being subsidized by community partners or the city or the county. So Marissa's Kids Second Annual Christmas Toy Drive. We're collecting toys and for kids 0 to 18. So there's about 40 kids in the motel right now on Super 8 down on Hospitality. So we're going to have an event on the 19th where we're bringing in a Santa, and we're going to give out treats and things.
How awesome.
Right? Isn't that great?
That is great. That is great.
Yeah, we want people to
we need more people like that.
Yeah, to do and you know who's generating most of this? It's the motel owner.
Really?
Yes.
That's great. Which Motel 6 is that?
It's Super 8 down on
Super 8.
Hospitality.
Super 8 down on Hospitality. That's
between
great.
Waterman, off of Waterman.
Yeah. Can I do a little plug real quick?
Absolutely.
The KCAA and the Teamsters will be in the Ukaipa Christmas Parade at noon on Saturday.
Oh, wonderful.
With two great big Union vans. One's a 35-foot black long limousine, and the other is another, they call the Mobilize Mobile.
Ooh.
And, we're going to have a good time. We're right in front of Santa.
Oh, okay,
so that's good. So it's the Christmas spirit people need to give.
Yes, it is.
And that Super 8 owner, do you have that name?
No, his name is Di.
Di.
But the contact for it is Marissa Barragon. It's Marissa Barragon, and I'm going to share the flyer on my socials, but her number is 909-666-0402. And her name is Marissa B. Marissa Barragon.
Yeah, I always say the number twice.
909-666-0402.
And it can be an unwrapped toy?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Toys, shoes, whatever you have that you want to donate.
Socks this time of year. Blankets.
We're doing another one that's an adopted family. We have newly housed families through Family Assistance HUD housing support, and we are trying to help find folks to adopt them. So just call me for that, 909-908-8053. That's Shazette, 909-908-8053 about the information for those families, and I'll hook you up with somebody that you can adopt.
And these are really big problems. I mean, I know the statistic from UKIPA is about 2,700 young students,
Yes.
still in high school, junior high, elementary school. They call them, unhoused.
Yes.
They're couch surfing.
Yes.
And they don't
Yes.
have a permanent home. They don't have a bedroom. They don't have a lot of
Exactly.
belongings. A lot of times they're carrying their stuff around in grocery bags or
Yes.
trash bags. And
That's
so
why I collect suitcases, because I give them to centers that work with children. Because I can't imagine a kid. It hurts your heart to imagine a kid carrying around everything that they own in a trash bag.
and
They
at a
already
moment's
feel
notice, they
thrown
have to
away.
move sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like they put everything
Oh, I
in the
have a
trash
new
bag.
person. I have a new person that I met last week. And he owns Celebrities. It's a restaurant up on
Oh, yeah.
on 40th, I think. His name is Max.
40th and Sierra Way.
Okay, 40th and Sierra Way. His name is Max.
Good food
And
there.
how I met him is because he had a fundraiser for one of our human trafficking program at the restaurant last week.
I think they have the best hamburger in San Bernardino.
Oh my God! You know what they had? What I had from them? We had the carne asada pizza. Oh my God!
And it's not expensive.
And it's not. And it's a cool little spot. I love it. It's a cool little spot. I felt like I found a place to hang out. But I'm going to have him on the show because I talked to him for like 5 minutes, and then 5 people came and said, you should have him on your show. And I said, okay, well, I'll ask him. He's got a heart for this. He wants to support. He has offered to do other fundraisers for our other programs. We have a reentry program for formerly incarcerated people. But we raised a little bit of money for our human trafficking. And so we need those kind of clear dollar, those, unrestricted funding, so we could do extras like buy sweats or tennis shoes and stuff for our clients without having to do an invoice sometimes, So, but I met him and I talked to him for 5 minutes and I was like so impressed. So I'm going, and now we have a running fundraiser for us at Celebrities for family assistance.
That's awesome. That's
All right,
awesome.
I think I'm at my time.
Well, we got a couple minutes, but how about we break out with some Wish You a Merry Christmas?
How about? Thank you.
There we go. You do an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being on
I've enjoyed
KCAA.
doing this, and I've enjoyed everybody that comes, and I've really felt, so honored to be able to get this 2 o'clock spot because I can bring people in because this is what I like to do. So I have so many more people that are going to be coming in, and I'm going to be sharing resources, I'm trying to get some folks, some of the newly elected from the city of San Bernardino to come. There's a couple of newly elected folks, and then I want to see if I can get Ms. Clayton, she's a city manager, to come and talk about the Navigation Center. They're moving really, really fast, on this Navigation Center, and they're sending out contracts, and so they say by this time next year, we will be able to open doors at the Homeless Navigation Center. So I'm looking really forward to that. But I want her to come on and talk about what that's going to look like. Her or Cassandra Searcy, because this is like her brainchild.
All right. 2 more weekends till Christmas.
2 more weekends.
You got to make it a nice Christmas for everybody. Thank you,
All right.
Zuzetta.
Thank you so much, Mark, for sitting in. And thank you again, Mr. Detman James, for coming. I appreciate
you.
you. And San Bernardino, take it easy. I'll see you next week.
And that's Working in the Margins here on KCAA every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Thursday.
It's Thursday. Oh, no, we got less time before Christmas.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.